Oh, conta. Let's fool around with some famous buildings. Today we're talking about
Little Caesar's stuffed crazy crust is stuffed with cheese and has a delicious buttery garlic flavored crust.
Pizza, pizza.
the Flatiron Building. What's up, fam? One of New York City's most famous landmarks and possibly the most dramatic pizza-shaped building ever. Originally called the Fuller Building, it's a 22-story, 87-meter tall, steel-framed triangle at 175 Fifth Avenue in the Flatiron District. Designed by Daniel Burnham and Frederick Dinkleberg, it opened in 1902, sitting on a triangular block formed by 5th Avenue, Broadway, and East 22nd Street. The building gets its name from its shape, which looks like a cast iron floating iron. The Flatiron was built as the headquarters of the Fuller Company, which bought the site in 1901 and wasted no time. Construction started immediately and wrapped up by October 1902. The steel frame designed by Purdy and Henderson was built to withstand 4 times the maximum wind force of the area. So this thing isn't getting yeeted by a storm. The facade is split into 3 sections like a classical column: a limestone-clad base, a terracotta cover shaft, and a capital. Called one of the world's most iconic skyscrapers and an iconic symbol of New York City, the building anchors the south downtown end of Madison Square and the north uptown end of the Ladies Mile Historic District. The neighborhood around it is called the Flatiron District. I wonder why. The building was designated a New York City landmark in 1966, was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1979, and was designated a National Historic Landmark in 1989. Oh, and in 2023, a survey ranked it the 4th most loved building in the USA. Aw, isn't that adorable? The Flatiron Building was designed by Chicago architect Daniel Burnham as a vertical Renaissance palazzo with Beaux Arts styling. Unlike New York's early skyscrapers, which took the form of towers arising from a lower, blockier mass, the Flatiron Building was designed in the style of the Chicago School. The palazzo-style design was intended to reassure passersby by giving an appearance of strength. Filling its entire land lot, the building was constructed as a slab without any setbacks. Though Burnham maintained overall control of the design process, he was not directly connected with the details of the structure as built. That task was performed by his designer, Frederick Dinkleberg, a Pennsylvania-born architect in Burnham's office. Daniel Burnham's architectural firm was hired to design a 21-story building on the site in February 1901. It would be Burnham's first skyscraper in New York City, the tallest building in Manhattan, north of the financial district, and the first skyscraper north of Union Square. The Northwestern Salvage and Wreckage Company began razing the site in May 1901 after the majority of existing tenants' leases had expired. Most of the remaining tenants of the previous apartment complex readily vacated the building in exchange for monetary compensation.
Here comes the money!
Here we go. Money talk.
The sole holdout was a retired colonel who refused to move out until his lease expired later that year. Cumberland Realty, the owner of the apartment complex, unsuccessfully attempted to deactivate the colonel's water and gas supply, and the colonel continued to live in the Cumberland while contractors demolished all of the surrounding apartments. This sounds like the beginning of Up. By the end of May 1901, Cumberland Realty discovered that the colonel was bankrupt and his creditors took over the lease and razed the rest of the Cumberland that June. Holy shit, it almost sounds like Up. Okay. With depressing music and everything. Okay, cool, let's go. Production of the architectural terracotta pieces for the building began in August 1901. Around the same time, the New York City Department of Building, DOB, indicated that it would refuse to approve Purdy's initial plans unless the engineers submitted detailed information about the framework, fireproofing, and wind bracing systems. Purdy complied with most of the DOP's requests, submitting detailed drawings and documents except for one thing: fire escapes. He just straight up ignored that requirement, and for some reason the DOP dropped it. Wait, what? Is that allowed? Holy shit. In addition, the building was originally legally required to contain metal-framed windows, although this would have increased the cost of construction. The city's Board of Building Commissioners had granted an exception, prompting allegations of favoritism. If you're thinking, that sounds kind of sketchy, don't worry. A new building department commissioner was appointed at the beginning of 1902, promising to enforce city building codes. The steel frame was completed by February 1902, and workers began installing the terracotta tiles as the framework of the top stories were being finished. By mid-May, the building was half covered by terracotta tiling, and the work was completed the next month. When it was completed in 1902, the Flatiron building was one of the tallest buildings in New York, north of the financial district. Standing at 87 meters, it was considered a true skyscraper for its time. But back then, people weren't sure if this weirdly shaped structure would even stay standing. Some critics thought its triangular design would make it unstable, like a giant house of cards waiting to topple over. Spoiler alert, it didn't. It had wind problems. The building sits at the intersection of 5th Avenue and Broadway, which creates a crazy wind tunnel effect. Back in the early 90s, this led to wardrobe malfunctions. Strong gusts would blow up women's skirts, which was a huge deal at the time. Men actually started gathering just to watch, and the cops had to chase them away. The lads. The building used hydraulic-powered elevators, meaning they relied on water pressure instead of cables, which were slow and took up a ton of space in the basement. The building was known for having some of the slowest elevators in the city. Seriously, workers used to joke that they could take the stairs and still beat the elevators to the top. Believe it or not, for most of its life, the Flatiron building was basically empty. Why? Because no one wanted to rent wedge-shaped office spaces. Turns out, people like their desks to actually fit in a room. While the building looks interesting interior-wise, a square space allows you to maximize more of the space. This is the problem with most corner buildings or weirdly shaped rooms. And that's the story of the Flatiron building, one of New York's most iconic landmark and the ultimate proof that you can build a giant pizza slice and call it architecture. If you like this video, drop a like, subscribe for more, and tell me in the comments what's the most ridiculous shaped building you've ever seen. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope I gave you guys an appreciation for a pizza slice in building form, and thank you for watching. Till next time.